So, this is probably going to be my first video for the channel. Um, yeah, no recording right now. But since it was such a great episode of the House of the Dragon, I wanted to jump on, give my thoughts and opinions about the season, about this particular episode, things I hope for the end of the season. We still have two more episodes, so I think this is a great time to kind of show, introduce y'all to the channel, introduce you to my opinions. Hopefully, I will give more live reactions and views on the show as we go forward. So, the first thing I really wanted to talk about was these kids. So, I really feel like they are the epitome of bad parenting. I feel like they had a very absent father. One, because he was very sick, and two, because I feel like despite everything that Viserys said, I don't think he considers them as much children as he does Rhaenyra. So, and you have Helena over here on the right, who's like a prophecy girl, which is already hard enough because they don't have that many Targaryens around. So it already makes her kind of odd in the sense of even Targaryens because she's a dreamer versus like a dragon rider, even though her character, I believe, is still a dragon rider. But now she's also a prophecy, and so you have these, very much not the same as not the same as the people in King's Land, not the same as her family. So, I feel bad for her, and then she gets to marry her brother who is trash. So I think she just kind of been handing a bad hand deal. Then you have Aegon over on the left. I don't know what he wants in life. Like he's very interesting to me. I think I think people want to very much kind of just automatically, oh, he's evil. I don't think he's more so evil. I just think he's I don't know, he's troubled in some way because I kind of still believe him that he didn't have, he believes that he's trying his best for his parents and he's failing. And you can easily see that he doesn't want the Iron Throne. And it shows very much relief, throughout this episode when Rhaenyra's children were legitimized again. So, and I don't know if that's because he just wants to do his dirt in peace or he honestly has some type of familiarity feelings with with Rhaenyra and her children. I don't know. It's very odd. I think he's more to him, and that's one thing I think I feel like I miss this season. It's like I feel like we're gonna enter into season two, and a lot of these characters look like they're gonna be major players, and I don't know what we really don't know what drives them. Whereas I don't think he's a Joffrey or Ramsay Bolton who's very much just evil to be evil. However, I feel like they're going to make him very much evil to be evil without actually hashing out his character. And then you have Aemon in the middle, who looks like Big Brother anyway, which is genetics is wild. But I feel like he really took to heart what his mother said, stuff that she was trying to teach her oldest about family first, and specifically their immediate family. And it's very interesting to see how, even though Aegon was kind of being a prat to his nephews, when Jace tried to start a fight, Aemon was very much so ready to defend his brother, and I don't know, it very much reminds me of Daemon and Viserys. I think I would love to see how are they going to be kind of the opposite of like this would have happened if Viserys trusted Daemon and made him his hand and made him his right hand person, because I feel like Aegon, because of his mother, will make Aemon his like hand or right hand person. And I would love to see, does this make Aegon a more formidable more powerful leader because he has his brother versus Viserys. If he would have had Daemon on his side and next to him, would Viserys been had a better ending to his rule, I guess. So I think that's going to be very interesting dynamic to see, because he is like almost like Daemon in a way, the second son, you know, better at fighting and everything. Whereas it seems like Aegon has already given up on that because he wasn't training with Kristen and everything. So I don't know. I think they're going to be very much a show tell of this what it should have been for Rhaenyra's father, and maybe things would have been easier if he would have kept it more so in the family and not bring in the high towers. And then these two, I don't know. These two, I'm very, very much, I don't know. Like, I go back and forth because I feel like Allison is very much she wants to do what's right, but also she wants to be rewarded for doing what's right. And I think the jealousy of Rhaenyra comes from the fact of Rhaenyra didn't have to do right all her life, and she keeps winning. And Otto, of course, Otto is a snake. He does snake stuff, but I feel like he got corrupted by greed. I think he really much so wanted, the best for the king and the best for the kingdom, but he was also an opportunist, and he saw this area, the situation. His daughter could be, the next queen, and he took it to heart and kept going with it. So I feel like he's very much one-dimensional. I would be honestly surprised if he had a change of heart, whereas Allison, I'm kind of almost on the fence with her because I would love to see her almost, if she's going to become the adversary for Rhaenyra, and I want to see it from both, and I'm going to talk about that later. I really, really want to get more into her head, because in this episode you show that she still cared about Viserys, she still cared about Rhaenyra. But are we really going to believe that this whole dynamic, this whole story, that, I have never read the books, but if this whole, I do know this about an internal civil war, is this civil war really going to happen because of she had a misunderstanding and then she was corrupted by her father? And it seems like, this is very heavily on these two women, but neither one of them have really done anything personally to make them adversaries. I think they're just more so the figureheads right now versus actual adversaries, and more so the figurehead of other people doing bad things and doing things against each other. So I don't know. I think Otto and Alicent, listen, I honestly, I think with Viserys gone, Otto is going to play probably a big part for the end of the season, maybe beginning of season 2. Don't see him staying that long, just because he did his part, and he could die happy now, because if he can get this treason, usurping of Aegon to happen, he's good. So I don't see him staying long. Alicent, on the other hand, she seems like she's the main character with Rhaenyra, but I just don't see the drive outside of, I'm worried for my children, which is, I guess, is a good thing. But then you had this whole belief where you didn't believe that Aegon was a son of yours, so why continue down this path to start this civil war over a son that you don't feel like is good enough to be king? Very much, I think she's still trying to figure out herself as well, which is terrifying. And either it's going to be really great TV next season, or could very much make people hate that character. So love to see what will happen with that. Now, this whole storyline with the Driftmark, with Rhaenys and Vaemont and everything, I'm just, part of me is, one, I think Rhaenys is playing the game. She's playing the Game of Thrones, the game that everybody thinks that we should be playing. However, I don't know. I really feel like maybe because she's still Targaryen, me personally, I wouldn't have stood up for Rhaenyra as much as she had, because if in my belief too, I still believe you killed my son. And how much can we not believe that that Damon not have a part in Lena's death as well? She's, like I said, another person. Like I said, this is another character. I understand Corliss' trajectory. He believes, the history books, and that's why he's going to stand by the people who have his name, because he wants to show that he, didn't do anything wrong. He doesn't want any rumors and stuff to happen as time goes on. Cool, but for her, I still don't see what drives her, and I think that's some of the things I guess I am missing. And hopefully now that we're slowing down, no more time jumps, we really get to see more so what is driving her to stay and support Rhaenyra. I mean, I know I can believe the fact that people say that maybe it's because Viserys was there, blah blah blah. But however, everybody knows Viserys was on his deathbed. It's just a very odd hill to stand on for her. So, or maybe so also she realized that this was the only way that her wishes would happen, is if she gives Drift, because I guess the two options was have it to Luke, and then her daughter, her granddaughter will inherit the Driftmark throne, or it goes to her brother-in-law, and then it's out of her line anyway. So I still would love to see more interaction between her and Rhaenyra and Daemon, because I can't see her trusting them or wanting to follow them. And it seemed like she really did draw the line of she wants to support the Rhaenyra, Camp Rhaenyra, Team Black versus the Greens. So and then he had this whole Chase thing, which I think I need to understand the ages, because he most definitely took a punch. He gave a punch to Aemon, and he just ate it. And I don't know if we're just supposed to believe that Aemon's just that much stronger, and Jace just didn't, like, he isn't his stepfather Daemon, who's like the best warrior in Westeros. He couldn't train him. I'm just, why can't he fight? And or are we supposed to believe Aemon is just that good that it didn't matter if he was like 10 times stronger, because Aemon is just that much better? And that's why they're trying to show this power dynamic between the boys, because that was a hot mess. And I don't know, like, I'm kind of worried. I'm worried for him and Luke. I don't know, because I feel like they're not, like, their character designs are not that, like sometimes I forget they're even there in the scene, and I'm just so nervous that, like, now, especially because Rhaenyra has these, true heirs, they're not questionable bastards and things like that. I don't know. I'm so nervous for them, because they're kind of seems to very much background characters, and I've heard this becomes a very bloody thing, and it destroys the Targaryen line and leads to what happens in Game of Thrones. But I think because out of all the kids, those two are very much unrememberable. Even so, Lena's kids with Daemon, very much the one. I know Bela, but the other one, I don't remember her name. Rhaena, I think. And they're twins, maybe not, something like that. I don't know. All four kids are kind of not rememberable compared to Alicent's three kids. Like, they have distinct attitudes and distinct, traits that you can love or hate about them. Whereas, like, Rhaenyra and Daemon's kids, they don't got anything. And I mean, maybe maybe they're just, I don't know, they might be old enough to fight or be a big part, but they don't have any strong traits to make me say, like, I love them, or they're cool, because it makes me nervous that they're, like, easy fodder to all four of them can die throughout this whole thing compared to Alicent's kids. So, and this man, he was, This man, I respect him for what he did because I think he knew that once he challenged Driftmark, lost the support of from Rainey's Princess Rainey's, the queen who never was. He was like, if I'm going, he knew his days were numbered. He was like, look, if I'm gonna die, I might as well get this part off my chest and just say they not real Valerians, and I don't, and you know, X, Y, Z. He knew he was gonna die, but he's like, might as well expose as much as I can before I go out. Because I mean, more power to him. And I feel like his claim, even though I do believe is very much selfish, it's not like he really cared about that they were, Valerians or not in his nephew's honor, yada yada yada, whatever. He wanted the throne to himself, and he realized this is the perfect time to get it. The Queens are in power. If I help them delegitimize Rhaenyra's children, then I get the throne. I get support of the crown. Yada yada yada. It was a power move for him. It was very much. He had a great claim to it, and I think his speech about it was perfect. However, it wasn't. I feel like it was a bunch of BS, and it was more so I want the throne to myself, because even then, if he wanted it to go into anybody and care about the line, technically the Westeros tradition right now. Well, I guess he did say because he even made the statement of saying like, well, he broke tradition by naming Rhaenyra his heir, and I think he specifically put that out there because he didn't want it to go to Laena's girls either, because he wanted it for himself. And I think that's just more so a selfish move with reasonable and truthful beliefs behind it, I guess. But to each their own, but more power to him, because I wouldn't have said it. I wouldn't have said it. And he said, look, we gonna stop playing dumb out here. Let's just call it what it is and keep it moving. And I respect that about him, because not everybody could do that. Like I said, I really like, now looking at pictures again of stills, like I can't I think the kid next to Rhaenyra might be Luke, or it might be Jace. I don't know. That might, that might be Luke, because it is his claim. And then the other boys behind him with the other girl, who I think that's Rhaena. Yes, that's Rhaena. I don't even worry about these kids. I don't think they're gonna make it. Like, I really don't, because they're really not memorable, which sucks, because I love their parents. I loved Lena and I loved Harwin Strong, and they died very fast just to push the Rhaenyra and Daemon relationship. And I just hope that we're not just going to erase these other children, and then it's like to push Rhaenyra and Daemon's kids just as the parents got pushed on. I don't know. I'm so nervous about them, because I just feel like they're not memorable in this whole scene. And like I said, the boy Luke has a big part in this situation, and I barely remember him in this scene. Aren't they cute though? I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I love them. I love them together. I wish we could slow things down, because I feel like the only thing that's a little bit different is because, and I said, I've read in interviews that, Emma, the actress who plays older Rhaenyra, she was told not to interact with the Millie, who played the young Rhaenyra, because they wanted them to be different characters. However, maybe because I'm still trying to figure out Rhaenyra's character, so you can see the dynamic between them is very much different compared to I don't know what dynamic they have when she was younger, but it was a different dynamic. Whereas this one is like more loving, more sweetness. She really, even though she is the queen and she's technically in the power role, you can see though that she lets Daemon lead the household, and you can see just by their interaction, she's very much more softer than I think she was with Laenor, in their relationship. So we'll love to see more of them together And that's it. I think this. I hopefully season 2 is a little bit more character driven, um, compared to now. Because I feel like now we're just hitting like these big moments, but now we like hopefully we're going to like, well, this is why the characters together, and this is why this is happening, and you know, also would love to kind of get more into like the Lena and the Harwin. Like, did they actually care about them? Were they just there as placeholders for each one of them? It's just, and we may never touch on those stuff again, but I feel like a lot of that stuff could easily project to where they're going to go as characters in later seasons, and I feel like we are missing a lot of that. Why? And I know they wanted to be together, and they always wanted to be together, yada yada yada. But it's not like they did not find love in other people. And yes, they both died tragically, but it was just very much, was this a love match or was this a power play? Because Rhaenyra did tell him, I need you to make sure I can make it to the throne. So we'll love to see their dynamic going forward. And also, like I said, I would love to see more of these two taking a step role. And if there's going to be a civil war, and these two are the main characters that push the civil war, we'll love to see them actually get in the nitty gritty of it. Because I feel like right now it's really driven by Otto and Daemon doing acts, and these two are just kind of like there and they're the general figurehead of why it's happening, but they're not doing anything. Or more, the kids are doing things and they're just kind of like supporting their child. I'd love to see actual, like, these two take control of both their fractions of the Targaryen household and run it and really butt heads. So, you know, Alicent kind of made that first blow when she, you know, took the dagger at Rhaenyra, but then she kind of like fell back and I was like, well, let's be friends or something. I don't know. She's still trying to find herself. But I don't want this to be a story of like, well, we're angry at each other because all these men screwed us over. And no, like, I need y'all to be like, no, we taking over. This is I'm making a decision. I have beef with them and I'm going to do it. So that's what I'm really hoping for them. And so it's like a whole thing. It's like with this, I hope, you know, like I said, with Daemon making that, you know, it's supposedly there's some like whispers, and I have to see again that like Rhaenyra gave him the nod of like approval for him to kill Vaemont if need be during his trial. But now I need her to make some decisive, I am making these decisions, I'm the queen. I want it to be more out forward. And of course, maybe they'll happen as they're growing up, but who knows? And then, of course, the reason why I made this whole first episode, this first review, this man just gave us everything and more. And, you know, coming from anybody who's been in a family, so I think it's very interesting that, you know, because, you know that once he dies, everything's going sideways with everybody. And I would love to, you know, believe it's like, was the actions made by those people when, you know, Daemon helped him up the steps and gave him his crown, Rhaenyra toasting Alicent toasting Rhaenyra. Was these acts just to make him happy, or was it, you know, were they true acts of, I care about you, I love you, or I have, you know, I wish you the best and I appreciate you for taking care of my father. I would love to see where they fall in line now that he passes. Because I don't know, I feel like if I saw anybody like this, I would be nice too. Like, I would just be like, you know what, our beef ain't that bad. This man is slowly dying every day, and he took the long way around, like, to go. Like, look at this man at the beginning of his tragedy. Like, his tragedy was literally being named king. This man was happy. He had a full hairline. His wife was beautiful, pregnant with Rhaenyra. Like, they was happy. Like, he a little old, but he was. And then you go back to this, you're like, oh my gosh, they made him keep them 5 pieces of hair, still straggling long. But they like I said, but he still had that, and it's very beautiful that he still had that regency to him. He still had that authority. in his way, how he communicated, how he, you know, approached the throne, how he questioned the whole proceeding, because he's just like, why are we even here? I've already did this, like, and the fact that he was going, like, he put more effort in pulling out that sword to cut Vaemon's tongue than almost anything. And and if you read some of the articles from the actor, he stated that, almost this was the most tragic start of his ending, was him being named king, and he should have, because him being king drove him to make all these bad decisions, which led to him becoming this man, and that's why he let himself suffer for so long. And he kind of died when his wife died. So I said, it was a great ending to a character. I feel like to watch him slowly deteriorate like that in all these seasons. Because because he did have a sore while his wife was still alive, and then he just was slowly dying after she died. And I wonder if it's like, I don't know, it's interesting, because like you wonder if, like, was he just being a stubborn man and just like, I'm not going to die, or did he know that he needed to, like, he was waiting for something that, like, is going to be all right, which is like that final dinner with, his new wife accepting Rhaenyra as queen. The kids are all happy. I don't know. It's very interesting. And I don't know. Like, I'm also in that conspiracy theory that I believe that the Maesters had something to do with either prolonging his death, or keeping him alive. Something, because it's just, I've seen people get like go out with like a shot of a heart. How has this man lost an eye, half his cheekbone, an arm? He has gashes and holes in his body, and he just kept making it. Whereas people in Game of Thrones have died for lesser reasons. So there's something going on. There's something going on, and I don't trust the Maester. I don't know what that Maester's name is, but I don't trust him. He's team Rhaenyra because he didn't understand why they were having these proceedings. But I don't know. Those Maesters was doing some dark magic on him, because he should not have been alive as long. And I wonder if they just kept him alive long enough to make sure Aegon was at the right age so he could take the throne. I don't know, because this was not it. This was not it whatsoever. So I think with that should be the end of my review of House of the Dragon episode 8. Hopefully I will be camera side for episode 9. Like I said, I'm still trying to get the setup together. And once the setup is clear, but if I can't get a setup together, do camera, I'm gonna most definitely still do an audio review, and hopefully that by then I can kind of have some more neat tricks and stuff like that. But if anything possible, I'm the blerdywifey. Please make sure y'all subscribe, like, comment, follow. Help the channel grow. Love to start a community. I'll be going over other various things that I like. I have a lot in plan. Possible co-hosts, possible other segments, other different days to talk about things. So please, stand by, and I'll see you another time. Bye.